So, what happened to my 75 hard journey? What happened to my second 75 hard attempt? Well, I didn't exactly fail in the traditional sense of failing, but I did absolutely have to stop. And I also had to stop putting together the vlogs. I had a whole other week of vlogging that I was going to edit into a clip. So, my third week of that second attempt. At the end of that week, we went interstate, and that was a lovely time. That was exactly what I needed after a few weeks of heavy-duty vlogging and creating and doing all my characters and everything. It was absolutely wonderful to just sit in a car for 9 hours and just stare at the clouds and the wide open spaces going past, and then to hang out with family for a few days, come back, do another 9 hours in the car just sitting there. Super relaxing. Met some wonderful people and had a really nice time. When we got back, it was my first day back at work in about a month, and that's pretty much where the trouble started. So on the Monday, I basically threw the biggest freaking tantrum Monday morning, and Alex kind of had to talk me down off a ledge so I would just sit down and clock in at 9 a.m. and do my work. And then Monday kind of passed without incident really after that. Tuesday, I sat down to do my work and had a seizure. I did do another really, really emotional video talking about this, but I think I'm actually going to keep the details pretty sparse now. So yeah, Tuesday I had a seizure. I've got no history of seizures. And then Wednesday I had another seizure. And I also then fainted that night, fainted again the next day. And for like a week and a half after that, I pretty much couldn't eat, pretty much couldn't move. Even the slightest little shuffle, like just barely moving, would elevate my heart rate to very, very uncomfortable levels. I slept great. I was so exhausted all the time that I slept great. But yeah, I was basically, very incapacitated for like a week and a half. And then after that, slowly started to be able to become a little bit more mobile and started to get my appetite back somewhat. But it was an ordeal. The seizures were absolutely terrifying to experience. The first one, no one was around for that. I was just out on my back deck working, and then it all happened. And again, like I'm actually gonna leave the details out of this because it's pretty graphic. Like, I don't know if you or someone you know has had seizures, then perhaps you have experience of this. And I don't know if my experience was typical or not. For me, it wasn't just the seizure itself; it was the aftermath too. So, all in all, like the acute phase of like distress would have been like close to 2 hours, and then just completely drained me, and I'd have to sleep for a few hours after that. And yeah, the recovery period has not been easy. So I ended up taking a whole other month off work, just got back to work last week, and it's kind of knocked me on my ass again. I can't believe I'm actually sitting here talking to the camera, honestly. It's been very, very frustrating. So I've mentioned in other videos that like I'm a textbook introvert, and I get overstimulated pretty easily. Noises and distractions and things, they do upset me, and they do severely impact my ability to concentrate and just have a steady, stable disposition. They stress me out, basically. Like, I get really stressed out if I'm overstimulated. And what these seizures did was up that to the billionth degree. So I am finding life very difficult at the moment, to be quite frank. Very difficult. It takes barely anything at all to trigger me, and once I'm triggered, it's like yesterday I went for a little walk, and there was a couple of trucks, a couple of big earth mover trucks that were kind of stop starting. I was walking down a particular street, and these earth mover trucks were stop starting the whole way down this street, kind of going along as I was walking along, and man, I just felt like my whole body was going to explode. I wanted to punch and kick and throw things and break things and scream at the top of my lungs. And that has been pretty typical of far less invasive sounds lately. And we've got quite a lot of sounds in our neighborhood. So basically my nervous system is on fire. Like my nervous system is in apocalypse mode at the moment, and it barely gets a chance to settle down before the next stressor comes along. Things like even operating Adobe Illustrator or Adobe InDesign, programs that I am absolutely a native in, that I could operate in my sleep sort of thing. Because my cognitive ability has been reduced somewhat, and I am in this constant state of heightened anxiety and stress and whatnot, it means that I'm not at full capacity of the way my brain's working. And so navigating those softwares has been, I don't think those softwares, that's not very grammatically correct, whatever, I'll give myself a pass on that. Yeah, sometimes that's been a bit difficult, and if stuff goes wrong, I just get frustrated and overwhelmed so easily, and every time that I get one of these little frustrated episodes, like it adds. So I'm seeing a counselor at the moment, and he's got this great analogy about how anxiety, panic attacks and things, panic attacks come on. He's got a bathtub analogy, so imagine a bathtub, right? And there's water pouring into the bathtub. The water is all those little everyday stresses. And the more and more of those pour in, the more full the bathtub gets. And eventually, it overflows. And that's the panic attack. And I'm having a lot of panic attacks because there's a lot of stresses, and I'm not having the opportunity to fully get my nervous system down before more come along. Life's honestly been kind of unbearable recently. There was a week-long period before I went back to work that things were starting to feel a little bit normal again. And for some more context, so aside from the physical toll that took on my body, it's very taxing, the seizures. Oh, I'm all over the place with this, so I am sorry, but I need to make this, and I need to put it up so I can move on, because I attempted to make one of these, and I feel like it was way too emotional. I was borderline crying the whole time, and that's just not fun to watch. So I am doing my best to try and keep this linear as possible and easy to follow, but at the end of the day, this is me just trying to get things out so that I can move forward. Right, so in post-seizures, yes, there was absolutely, it was the most physically taxing thing in my body I've ever experienced. I've never been so knocked on my ass ever. I can't believe how incapable of anything I was and how little I could eat. I would have a couple of bites of a cracker basically, and that'd be that for hours and hours and hours. It would take me an entire day to get through a smoothie, and even then that was such a difficult task. So there's the physical stuff. Mental stuff, obviously, very traumatic thing, and then the triggers that caused the seizures as well. They in and of themselves were quite traumatic things. One of them was me receiving news that I just was not ready to hear, I was not ready to deal with. So aside from that, for 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more, I couldn't be alone at all without having a panic attack. I needed Alex there with me basically 24/7. To the degree that going to the bathroom alone was a scary thing, and so I just have to leave the door open and Alex would be outside the door, because there had been an episode of me fainting just after using the bathroom, and Alex finding me on the bathroom floor, and after that there was other times when I felt weird, and just basically being alone. I couldn't do it. I would just start to panic again. So it took a really long time before I could even just leave the house and go for a little skate around the park or just a little walk around the park without having anxiety just rise way up again. And yeah, it's been so frustrating, and it feels like I just feel like I've been so dependent on everybody. I've basically regressed to being a toddler at this point with how much. Well, no, I'm a little bit better now. Like at least I can be at home by myself now, no worries, and I can go to the park by myself, no worries, and go for walks and things. But essentially, I'm very dependent on Alex at the moment for a lot. Just yeah, if I want to go anywhere beyond our neighborhood. So the other side of it is that I am making so many stupid mistakes, so many mistakes. My brain is just not on board with functioning in in the way that it was before, like in terms of all the things that I had on my plate. Right now, I'm at such a low operational capacity, and I've made so many stupid mistakes that I then have to go back and fix, and that are making other people's lives more complicated, and that's adding to the stress, and it's just like it just keeps going and going and going. And yeah, it's really frustrating because I don't know when this ends. My coach Olivia has been a superstar. I need to give a giant shout out because I don't know what I would have done without her. She was in, like, when I had that second seizure, that Alex was around for, and I couldn't think of a single person that I'd want to talk to, other than her. So I was in the shower, just after that first one in the shower, not knowing what the hell to do. And Alex described what he'd witnessed to me. I was like, we need to call Olivia immediately. And she went into damage control. And I'm sorry I interrupted your waffle making. I owe you waffles. Calm, peaceful, non-emergency interrupted waffles. And she's just been a saint, a godsend, I would say, ever since. We were already working together on a protocol for parasite infections that I had that would have been definitely contributing to anxiety. But she's been such a superstar. Like, I can't believe the level of dedication and care and attention that she's given me, and how personalized all the recommendations have been, and how, I mean, her brain is the only brain I would want on this job right now. And as I've been rehabbing and kind of getting back into training, as I've been getting back into, like, as I've got more energy to work out again, the programming she's been doing for me it's been programmed with soul, you know, like it's spot on. And that's been such a positive thing to get back into my life, to have training back and to have that structure and all of that. So, which I guess brings me back around, like, all that to say, of course, immediately, there was no question, 75 hard was done for me. It's done. And I don't know when I'll pick it back up again, because right now, to have that many rigid restrictions on, well, I guess they're not really restrictions, are they? That's how you choose to look at it. I never saw them as restrictions. Some people would. But maybe just because I didn't see them as restrictions, it doesn't mean that they weren't. And maybe I was putting way too much pressure on myself, that in this phase of my life, in this season of my life, that just wasn't right for me. And I do now recognize as well that I was leaning into very heavily masculine dominated kind of mindset and an approach to life, like even down to the fact that I'd watch these motivational videos every single morning, and it'd be dudes like Joe Rogan, Jocko Willink, and David Goggins, like these real hard asses. And there's nothing wrong with that. All that stuff is freaking excellent to have. But I don't think I was embracing any of my feminine traits at all, and I don't think I was going with any sort of flow and you know, leaning into that feminine archetype, which, now that I have been forced to sort of lean into that and become softer and gentler with myself, and to go with the flow of my natural rhythms, and as I've been doing a little bit more promoing for my Zaya business, and really leaning into being a massive girl for that, I'm starting to recognize how I was doing myself a disservice by focusing entirely on these hard asses that I admire so greatly and that I think are doing so much good for the world. I guess I need balance. It all comes back to balance, doesn't it? Always and forever balance. It's the trickiest thing to strike. It's the most important thing to have. I still would not hesitate to recommend 75 Hard to anyone. And I'm still so glad that I went through that and showed up for myself in that way. And I learnt heaps. But it just doesn't suit, it certainly doesn't suit recovery from what I've been through. The other aspect of it was the vlogging. I've never vlogged before, and to straight out the gates think that I could be doing weekly vlogs jam-packed with content and all these extras and like putting my heart and soul into making these things, just going from 0 to 11, that was obviously a big ask as well. And I now recognize that I was asking too much of myself there. I should have slowly worked up to it, doing like really low quality sort of things for a while and maybe not documenting every single little aspect of my day, you know, just little snippets, even just little snippets from throughout the week, you know, little highlights. Anyway, that's all stuff to think about for the future me. Right now, I'm not going to touch vlogging. It's just too much. It's too much. Like right now, I can barely do much of anything, to be honest. Again, very frustrating to have been getting such momentum and now to be... It's been like a roller coaster, really, truly, like this steady ascent, and right now I feel like I just crashed down to like that dip, and I'm stuck in the dip now. I'm just stuck there. It doesn't feel like I'm going up, it just feels like that, I'm in it. But there's a few things happening over the next few weeks that I'm very optimistic are going to help me to start climbing back up to the top, and with what I've learned from this experience, hopefully in a far more sustainable way. So that's it in a nutshell. Like that's my 75 hard journey has ended for now. It's something I would absolutely love to revisit at some point. No doubt about it. I still see immense value in doing it, and it's still something that I would love to achieve. I still think if it was something that tickled your fancy, then you should definitely give it a go, but I guess be mindful of how much you're pushing yourself. I thought I was doing a good job of not overbearing, but I suppose not. You know, it's like there's so many factors involved too. There's just so many factors, it's hard to say which one. It's this bathtub thing, right? Like there was just lots of things pouring in, and yeah, so right now my entire focus is on stress management. I have so many self-care ththings to attend to throughout the day, and in a sense it's kind of like a 75 hard of self-care. You could kind of look at it that way, and I don't know, it does make me a little bit edgy that these are all tasks that I still need to sort of tick off throughout the day. They're all healthy and positive and wonderful, and yet there's still this sense that things need to get done, and I think that's just something that I'm going to need to work through, both with myself and maybe chatting with my counselor about this, why it is that I feel like everything's a to-do to be ticked off, and why this sense that I need to achieve things in order to have had a successful day. But I do miss getting my thoughts out on camera, and I do miss posting to YouTube. So I think I'm going to go back to where I started a couple of months ago and just go back to doing this. Just turn on the camera, chat, stream of consciousness, get the thoughts out, post it, done. And that way I still get to project out what I want to project out. I still get to start the conversations I want to start, and I still get that. The cool thing about it for me was that it was starting to jog my mind creatively in a way that nothing had in a really long time. That each time I'd do a video and speak out loud and explore topics, I would come up with new conclusions for those topics and come up with new ways of thinking about it, and then it would spark ideas for future videos. And so right now I'm really desperately, not desperately, that's a low vibe, isn't it? I'm passionately pursuing my Zaya business, and the best way to move the needle on that is to create content on Instagram. And that's a totally new medium for me to be using as an actual creator and not just a passive consumer. I'm interested in creating some reels, but I have no ideas. None. I'm dry. And no surprise either. Like, my brain function right now is basically limited to survival in a lot of ways. That's not a time for creating. But my hope is that as I do more of these videos again, and as I start getting back into doing things this way, in this really sustainable, almost effortless way, this really organic way, that I'll start to get ideas for really fun, engaging, and most importantly, valuable content. Because right now I am that girl just parading around in my athletic wear, showing off my bod, and taking selfies and stuff, and that's all fun, and that actually feels great, to be honest. That feels great, and I've never been comfortable doing that stuff my whole life, and to be in a place where I actually am comfortable and excited to do it, and feel really great about it, that's pretty neat. So that's all well and good, and I will keep doing that because it is fun. But I want to add some value to it as well. I don't want to just be parading around and showing off clothes for the sake of showing off clothes. Like, that's never been me, and I don't ever want to be that, but that's what I'm becoming because this guy isn't coming up with ideas for me. So this is me coming back to what sparked my inner revolution a couple of months ago. I guess more than a couple of months ago now, like 3 months ago now. And it was that. Doing these videos really just... The videos were the start of that ascent. And I guess I got just lost in trying to do it in this way that is kind of out of my reach for now. Yeah. A lot of lessons. There's a lot of lessons in this. And, I mean, ultimately a lot of positives have come out of this too. So, stress management, obviously, number one. Nothing else compares for soothing my nervous system. Nothing even comes close to being out in nature. And that was my first vlog that I made, talking about nature as medicine. And I kind of lost sight of that. I haven't been able to drive a car for quite a long time now, for months and months. And so I'm very reliant on Alex for getting out to nature. And we just, I guess, yeah, we both lost sight of it. I don't like to harass him or bug him about these things. And it's not his default to want to venture out to these places. He doesn't yearn for the wild quite as much as I do. And yeah, so I never really made a big deal of it, and I probably should have pushed for us to be going out a little bit more. Perhaps that would have prevented what happened with the seizures and just stress getting over the top. But since then, well, one thing that's happened is that we're going to the beach together every single morning. That was something that I used to do every single day without fail. Rain, hail, or shine, I'd be down at the beach with Rocket going for a swim. Literally any weather, because it was my number one greatest joy in life, the thing that was helping me cope with symptoms that I developed from a car crash 2 years ago, and it was importantly helping me get through lockdowns in one piece. And then as of April last year, I stopped being able to drive, and my beach sessions were gone, and that obviously had a huge negative impact, and I think everything that's happened since can be directly linked back to me not being able to go to the beach, as ridiculous as that sounds. So now Alex is driving us to the beach every single morning. He's man, he just straight away is like, right, that's it, gonna start waking up early, we're going to the beach. And bless his soul, because he's a night owl by default, but he's been setting his alarm for 9:30. Just been going to bed at 9:30 diligently every night so that we can wake up by 6 a.m. And that is so new for him and so wild for him. And I'm really proud of how easily he's adapted to this, and so grateful beyond measure. Everything that Alex has done for me, he's looked after me like some sort of angel. I could not ask for a better soulmate. Honestly, he's just I don't know what I would have done without him. So there's that. It's everything that he did to look after me in that immediate period afterwards. Been going to the beach, and that's been fantastic. And now Rocket has someone to chill out on the sand with while I'm swimming. He used to just sit there all lonely by himself, staring forlornly out into the water. So that's been a beautiful addition, and it has absolutely helped so much. And I get so overwhelmed and emotional thinking about like how much it's helping now, and how much I needed it. This whole time I needed it. We've been going surfing a bunch, so every weekend that we can, we've been taking the surfboards out, and we found a great surf beach, and we're still, we suck still, but we're doing it, and that's been a lifelong dream, and I'm going to do a video about that, about how crazy it is to me that that's something that we're doing now on the regular. We went camping, and I've been dying to go camping forever and ever and ever. My family was not a camping family, or much of an outdoorsy adventures kind of family. So, and it's something I always in my heart knew I wanted to be doing. And Alex and I somehow never managed to get ourselves out there until now. For Christmas, his dad bought us a swag, so that certainly helped things along. Yes, we went camping. That was cool. Found some huntsmen on the top of the roof, top of the tent. We were packing up in the morning. That was fun. So lots and lots of good things have actually come from this as well. I'm kind of getting to live the life of my dreams, despite the fact that life is a daily struggle as well. It's quite the dichotomy right now, but good foundations are being laid. So it is my hope that as I continue with my protocols and everything that I need to do to get back to an optimal condition, or even to improve to a more optimal condition than before, because I clearly wasn't living optimally before, so I'm probably going somewhere better. It's just setting the foundation for a bigger and better life than I had before. That's a cool thing to think about. And so that's where I've been. That's what happened to my 75 hard. That's what happened to my vlogs. And I still don't know how to finish videos or what else is new. Cool. Thanks for watching if you watched this far, and I'm really grateful if you're coming along with me for the rest of this journey. I have some ideas of some other content I'd like to make for here, and I think it's all going to be really positive things to put out there. So I still stand by what I've been saying since the start of the year. It is my year, and it is my year. It's the year of the llama, year of the tiger llama. Check my Instagram if that makes no sense. And I'm going to do big things, and I'm going to live big. And this has been a huge setback. Huge, disastrous, terrifying setback, but it's only February. Which I don't know if that freaks me out more than it uplifts me. Not sure where to go. Hey, I'm open to anything though, and I have been learning. This is probably another little video to do. I have been learning this lesson over and over and over and over again, and I don't know when it's going to sink in enough for me to stop learning this lesson, but every single time something freaking terrible happens, every time the worst thing happens, the best thing possible comes out of it. And sometimes it's like immediately afterwards, and sometimes it takes time to develop or unfold, but effectively, I just keep learning this lesson over and over and over again, that through the hard times emerge the amazing times. It's like the hard times are what we need, or I need, to evolve to the next level of the person that I'm going to be. And it always just blows my mind when the amazing things emerge from the rubble of the terrible things. It's a journey. It is a journey. Absolutely. All right. Goodbye. Goodbye and good luck, and I'll see you next time. And I hope you're having an amazing day or a night, and I hope you have a stunning weekend. If it's the weekend, fuck, what am I doing? Bye.